John Jengaron says that he wants this $350 million within 30 days. Now, I know that you're planning on appealing this, but you've still got to put up the full amount pending that appeal. Does Donald Trump have that kind of money sitting around?
Yes. I mean, he does. Of course, he has money. You know, he's a billionaire.
Who can't pay? He's a billionaire who can't pay. This is the breaking news. Right before we came on the air, you know, former President Donald Trump can't find an insurance company to underwrite his bond to cover the massive judgment against him in New York Attorney General's civil fraud case. His lawyers telling a New York appeals court, CNN with the details here, Trump's attorneys say he has approached 30 underwriters who apparently know better. He's asked them to back the bond, which is due by the end of the month. According to his lawyers, the amount of the judgment with interest exceeds $464 million. Very few bonding companies will consider a bond of anything approaching that magnitude. Again, this is from Trump's lawyers. Now, you would think that when you are a billionaire with, I think they said like $14 billion. I could be wrong. It's a lot of money, yes, but you have that, probably liquid. Don't you think Jeff Bezos has it? Okay, maybe. Potential underwriters are seeking cash to back the bond, not properties, according to Trump's lawyers. And of course, they want money. His properties are ever decreasing in value. Here's the report. Trump branded New York City real estate plummeted in value since 2016. What happened in 2016 that would have affected that? Condos and buildings with Trump's name on them have plummeted in value, while the value of condos that remove the Trump logo shot up. So don't be so vain. Get your name off all of it, and perhaps you'll do better financially. Trump's lawyers have asked the appeals court to delay posting the bond until his appeal of the case is over. But if they don't, you better find the money because Attorney General James is not messing around. Okay, when you look at her and then listen to her talk, remember, art of the steal. Remember how she said it? As if, you know, she was trained by, I don't know. Who's the most famous Hollywood actress out there right now?
G.I. Jane.
Okay. What now, Jackson?
G.I. Jane. She was trained by G.I. Jane. That's what
okay, perhaps. But she delivered the lines. And I want to know how you feel about this. He's apparently trying to haggle or negotiate with the court. And I don't really see why we would expect anything different, Jackson, because when you've grown up with enormous privilege, you've never been held to account, including when you sent people storming the Capitol, defecating and rifling through Nancy Pelosi's mail. Why stop now? I mean, I assure you, they would take everything. What do you have in your unit there? Okay, they take everything from you. If that judgment were against you, you wouldn't need, they'd cut your hair and they'd sell that too. It's long, it's luscious, they'd sell it. Okay, nothing would be yours. So what do you make of this bold, well, it's really brazen attempt to tell the court, I don't have that, here's what I'm gonna give you.
I mean, I think you pointed it out just right. It's kind of what he's used to and it's all he's got. You know, him becoming president has been nothing but a stream of embarrassment, endlessly so for him. Whether it be the revelation, not that nobody ever couldn't figure that he wasn't really worth as much money as he said he was, but it's been like the proof of it now. You know, people can see firsthand how much he's ripped off workers, and the full history of just his con artistry has been brought to light in ways that it otherwise wouldn't necessarily have been if he didn't take public office in the way that he did. But, you know, like when it comes to his worth, you know, sometimes he's worth $6 billion, sometimes he's worth $10 billion. And at the end of the day, $464 million, that's a lot of money, liquid. I don't care how much, you know, you're worth on paper, but when it comes to net worth, that can get tricky because what does it really mean? You know, like your net worth could be like Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos. Now, of course, they would have the liquidity, but their net worth can go down by $100 billion in one day because of what the stock market has going on. So a lot of it's imaginary anyway. But, you know, this is the only move that Donald Trump has, but he still may end up becoming president despite that fact. So, you know, it's just, I don't. At the end of the day, it's crazy times we live in, I guess.
Yeah, it is. His favorite outlet, Fox, was able to pay their $787 million settlement. They paid. They had the liquid. I understand they're a huge entity, but he said that the Trump brand is as well. Okay, his son-in-law, Jared. I mean, if I had a son-in-law, daughter-in-law son-in-law got $2 billion from the Saudis, I might say, would you mind? Why can't that fund back him? Because it's all play money, right? He wasn't really qualified to run an entity like that, but he got $2 billion. So I'm just wondering also if the one person that can crumble his financial empire is that Black woman who says, look, man, and I'm just telling you what she said, Letitia James. She was born in the hood. Nothing affects her. She says she's going to take the properties next. Can she do it, or will America be America and never hold this derelict to account?
Well, I think that, when you talk about how much he'll be held to account, we got to, what does that mean? Does that mean that he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life? Maybe not. But I think that he's likely going to be forced to pay up in whatever way that he has to, just because the gavel's been struck. And two, at the end of the day, Donald Trump, the real power that he has is his voting base. That's really what's keeping everybody in line. But outside of that, he doesn't have any real friends in high places. Everybody hates him. You know what I mean? So that's why nobody's really going to come to his rescue. People could cough up that money if they wanted to. His donor base they've made a GoFundMe for it, but he's kind of ran that well dry at this point. They'll give money, but he's not going to be able to just string up $100 million in donations like that, how he could a few years ago. So,
but here's the thing, Jackson. I think his financial picture is so much worse than even his worst critics, accountants in the know, anyone understood. Because here's what I know about American companies. They love to risk it all by currying favor, even with an autocrat. They love to say, well, if he's going to be president again, this would go far, long, and help us out with what we need. They know that Trump would play ball in that regard. But they're still CEOs, they're still in charge, they still have people to answer to. So if they could scrape it together and do him another favor. I mean, he's been getting these kind of financial favors forever. I think they would do it. And so I think that tells us much more about Donald Trump's financial picture. It's shattered, despite what Abba, is it Haba or Abba?
Haba. It's Haba. Yes,
despite what Haba is telling people.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.